Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I mustered up the strength to look up some of the things that I probably should have known a long time ago. I don't even know how I did it, and as it pertains to what stumbled me into just doing it. I don't know, but nevertheless, I looked up some California law information in regards to what happens now for people who are evicted and have already lost their trial and are waiting for the sheriffs to show up. I have a lot more clarity after what I just read. And of course, naturally, I, I want to say the Spirit of God told me to turn on the camera. I don't know why I hesitate to say that after saying it a million times to you guys. I think that that's probably understood that I kind of moved that way at this point. But nevertheless, that's what it was. I just kind of stumbled into that. And I read that once the sheriffs arrives next Thursday, they'll likely put up a notice that says I have to move out 5 days from then. At that time, I have up into 24 hours of the move out moment date to get myself some money and go down to the courtroom with it in hand and ask for a stay of eviction. If I can upfront that money, they may grant it. And from what I understand, it's up to the it depends on a lot of different things. It's up to the judge basically, and you would also have to contact the lawyers of the landlord uh, within that time period. Now, if you wait to that fifth day, you don't have that 24 hours. You screwed. You have to give them some understanding of what it is you're going to do, and then you got to be willing to pay them for every day that you're going to be here. So up to 40 days is what they said. So it can get granted by the judge in situations like that. So there is hope, but what they're saying is you have to file specific legal papers in order to make that happen. So I would need a lawyer. I would literally need a lawyer at that time. Um, so that gives me some, at least some clarity as what is possible. And I think it was my boy T that ultimately gave me the understanding that there should be something I should be looking to learn about what other options may be available rather than just accepting what is happening and then from there assuming something. You want to know at this point. So I think that's common sense, but it's not something I would have went to because of my anxiety and how I am. I just hadn't. So now I did, and I have a little bit more clarity as to what it is to expect next Thursday. Um, so that's phenomenally helpful. Um, so I kind of wanted to just come here and kind of just tell you guys what I've been doing in regards to helping myself. What type of courage I found myself to muster to actually address um, finding more information. I tell you, it's very stressful for me to even look up things when I'm stressed about those particular things. Even if what I'm looking up will provide me the solution, it's still equated in my head as something to stay far away from. And that's one of the biggest hurdles in my life that I've always had to deal with in regards to my mental condition. I mentioned it many times, but it's why certain things just don't get taken care of. It's because my mind doesn't know the difference between approaching a stressful situation and finding solutions that may not be simple. There even some cases may even be simple. As long as I'm stressing it, I don't want to approach it, and that is something that I would love to work on doing a much better job of. And I think tonight was one example of when I was able to do that. So it is it's one of those things where it's like when I think back on what the Lord was trying to do in regards to calming me down, I was thinking about that and how that equated to the truth of what it is that I know right now versus what it is that I thought I knew then. I just reinforced to you guys once again that trusting that voice is just an understanding that I'm starting to to have. It's just you need to trust that spirit inside of you that tries to improve your energy because it is connected to the source which knows all things. And so when it tells you to get up, move, when it tells you to lay down, don't feel bad about it. When it tells you not to go to work at 8:30, stay home, that kind of stuff. As we've been talking about various different things, I refer to what I've already discussed. And so I hope if you've seen my therapy sessions, you know what I'm referring to when I say 8:30. But it's just one of those situations where it's like, I'm learning to trust God more. Just like I said 2 nights ago, I'm really, really happy with what he's doing with my personality and my character going through these difficulties. Even though I look at my mental health and I give it the credence it needs so that I can be at peace with my behavior, there's still certain aspects of my character that needed to mature during this time, and I think that I've made massive breakthroughs in that, respecting that some of the last of my childhood is being shaken off. Some of my last of my childhood ways are being snuffed out of me, and I welcome it with full force because I want to get on with my life as it pertains to being a man and having things together and having a wife and kids. As long as I continue to hold on to those childish behaviors and mentalities that were attached to an excuse of mental health, which was definitely there, but not necessarily the only thing in place, I know that the Lord is helping me work out some of those ways, helping me go through some things that are tough. And I think just like he gave me a very easy year last year, very easy, this year has been rewardingly challenging. If that's how you say it, it's been a rewarding type of challenging experience. Type of stuff that grows hair on your chest, as they say. This is the type of year I'm having. And if not for the struggles specifically, I very much welcome everything that's coming with it. The ability to do things that I never wanted to do beforehand. The ability to take a look at my mental health and still see opportunities to improve upon my character. Being willing to do things that I wasn't willing to do. Communicating with people that I hadn't spoke with in a while. Getting close to people that want to reach out to me. Just stuff that I wasn't open to. Having a bit more, just better. Just being a better human being. Not just as it pertains to what it is I'll accept, but now coming into understanding that these hard times will make you endure a little better, make you respect certain things much more, about reaching out and talking to people and answering the phone, and just stuff about my character that I know now I'm letting go of. Some really positive energies coming in, and I'm just thankful for what God is doing. I'm thankful for what God's doing. I appreciate the fact that I'm still in shelter. I'm still laying in my bed that I have for myself. That there is hope for me to not have it play out the way that I thought it was going to play out, while I didn't know what I know now. For the therapy sessions and all this other stuff that he's doing for me, for the fact that I've still been able to do art. I think I did 50 pieces of art today in a matter of 2 hours. They're just getting easier and easier to do. I don't know if that means for better art necessarily, but it does mean that my style doesn't take long to do for me. And there is a style. I have many other things that I like to do, but there is a style to a certain art piece. There's it's starting to manifest into something, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it went from me scribbling on papers to coming up with stuff to doing certain things to now it's almost like I've done so many of these things to now they're their own entity. It's like I'll make them, and then when I look back at them, I'm like, dang, I made that. It just felt like a bunch of scribbling to me, but now it's starting to look like really cohesive art pieces that embody their own style, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like its own thing. I've created something literally, and now it's manifested into something that is its own thing. I'm aware of it, but no one's necessarily aware of it. But once you see what I've done and the various different ones that I've done, you'll start to see, like, yo, it's evolving. It's turning into something. Like, the BDF style art is going to be a real thing if I could ever let people see what it is I do. Some of my art pieces, because I'm using a lot of greens, because I didn't really like green as much, And so I left all those greens to be the ones that are left behind as it pertains to everything else got dried out except for the greens. Now I got like money green type art pieces that are starting to really look really rich in their own way. Even though it's a bunch of scribbling, it's starting to make sense, I think is what I'm saying. Just like the Lord told me it would. When I first started that, he said, by the time you finish the bag, it'll make sense. Now do your art, start your art progress. And now I'm starting to see the art itself. It's making sense. That's the best way I know how to describe it. It's starting to come together to really be its own thing. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with the world, man. I'm looking forward to sharing my very unique style art, very distinctive to itself style art with the world. I'm starting to appreciate what it is I do. And I'm just going to tell people, I don't think I'm doing anything that anybody can't do. I don't actually think I'm a very good artist at all. In fact, I think I suck at it. Naturally, I'm no good at it. I'm not somebody who's going to do like beautiful pieces as it pertains to like your face or beautiful fields and all that stuff. Wonderful 3D art, shading and all that. I ain't got none of that talent. That is absolutely not what I do. But if you just intend on doing whatever it is that you do, as much as I just did this, it's going to turn into something. It's going to evolve within itself is what I'm trying to express. That's what I was trying to say. It's evolving within itself. You go from scribbles to a certain thing to even something else, and then it stays stagnant for like months and months and months. I couldn't get nothing going. It just looked like the same old trash over and over again. I lived through that. I kept doing it even more. Some of them were no good throughout the path. Then I got to a point where some of my art was really, really good. And then I had a couple weeks where I looked like I had regressed some. And throughout the course of 2 years, now it's just evolved. It's completely evolved to where not only is it easy for me to make them, but they look better in a short amount of time. And when I'm not thinking, I make these pieces, if that makes any sense. And when I decide to think, I can, it's a difference. It's like, if I'm intent on creating something special in art, or if I'm looking to do some new stuff, then it will be a distinctive looking piece that has different stuff to it. But if I just mindlessly just pick a pen and listen to some music, or turn on a YouTube video or something like that, and just like let my mind go, I will literally do like 30 of them pieces, and they will all be cohesive, and I won't even have any. It's mindless for me. It's mindless. I don't even think about it. Some of them are scribbled and look like too much, but then you'll look up and see like 4 or 5 pieces that look like cohesive pieces. It's like, where did it even come from? All I was doing was scraping around. All I was doing was scraping around, But now, after doing it so much, you get used to the rules that you created for yourself, to where certain lines don't overlap over others, and dot this here, dot that here, and you continue to evolve upon the rules, I guess is what I can describe it as an artist. When you're creating something from scratch, you're just really trying to go in different directions. But as you continue to do it over and over again, you remember what worked last time. That's how it goes. I remember what worked last time. And muscle memory gets better at certain things. So like you're doing swiggly lines or whatever, and you remember what worked, you remember what you didn't like. And so many different times, it's like, all right, those rules are stuck in my head now. I got the rules. Now this line goes this way. I want to use a different color for this. Now I use another color for that. Keep the same color for, and it's just that type of thing, to where after so many repetitions of this, it's like, all right, give me a page. I know all my rules. I know exactly what I like. Boom, 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 done. Give me another one. All right, I know what my rules. I know exactly what I like. Boom, and it just keeps going to where I don't even think that much anymore. It's just like pick them up, pick them up. Oh crap, I did like 4 already, huh? And I'm really not paying attention to the art at all. I'm more so paying attention to what is being said on what it is I'm listening to. So it becomes a real thing now, man. 6,502, I think is where we at now. I'm pretty sure I did over 50 today. And it's just like, going through these trials that I'm going through, I'm finding time to still get them done. That's what's so strange to me. I only set aside an hour or 2 to do it, but it was possible, And that long therapy session I did several hours ago, I listened back to that entire thing, did all my squats all the way up to 2 sets of 100. You know what I'm saying? It took a little time because I ended up talking to my homeboy T, and where he gave me the advice to look for states of eviction. Uh, that led me to this, or I was able to get that information and then bring it here. So I'm really enamored with all the different things that I've learned how to do through repetition. Repetition is the word. When you just do something over and over again, I want people to really consider the process of what it is I described in regards to my art, because that's how it goes for a lot of processes. It starts off, maybe you impress yourself with the first couple of art pieces, right? And then you start doing all kinds of stuff. You experiment with different things, and you end up coming with really nice stuff. The first month, 2 months, you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing all kinds of different stuff. Then it just gets to a point where you're just scribbling. I want people to go through that process, because it's the same thing with working out, same thing with trying to get other aspects of your life going. It's always that ebb and flow. Am I really progressing? Am I really evolving? Oh, I like what I see for a little while, and then further down the road, you're like, I feel like I'm getting worse again. I'm not satisfied with nothing I'm seeing. You have that long lull of time where you like no longer really, experimenting with new stuff. You're trying to transition from where you were to where I am now, to where everything has its rules, and you're in there, but you're breaking rules, you're messing up, you're trying certain things that hasn't really helped you define what a rule is as it pertains to what you're willing to do for your art to make it look right. And some of it just, you get to a point where you're not doing too well, or maybe something happens in your life and you have a couple of days where your art is just phenomenal, you know what I mean? Every piece you do, you just love, and you have a week where every piece you do ain't that good. These processes help you get to where you're going. Working out was the same way with my squats. I had ebbs and flows. One week I had the ability to do like all kinds of sets of heavy squats. And then I had a couple days where my body needed to recover from that. Then when I got back out there, it felt like I had never done squats before, but it was new muscle on there. So I could probably do more if I just get more reps in. Then you find yourself being able to do 3 times what you're able to do before, because the muscle has grown in. But the recovery process has made it so that other parts of your body hasn't gotten the work it needs. So it's so many different ebbs and flows to getting yourself in shape when you're really intent on it and you're doing it by yourself. Now, if you get a full body workout at the gym, that may not apply, because you're going to be using so many different types of machines to where you're going to get it right. But as it pertains to what I was doing, the process and the course I was going through, regressions, you know what I mean? Get back up, do it again, and see that your body has muscle memory from last month, so it don't take long to get back in shape as it did to initially get in shape. All these different things are real. Jogging was the same thing. You know what I mean? Trying to get myself involved in just getting in shape in that way. First couple of weeks, felt pretty good in the first couple of days, in your body, your muscles just so flare up. Now you can't even walk. You know what I'm saying? Then you go out there and jog, and you get a little better after the muscles heal. You get out there, you can do a little more. You feel like your lungs are getting used to it. Do it every day, you get to it, but it's still not quite where you want to be. Maybe you're not eating right or whatever, so you see your body. Some days you can get out there and jog. Other days, it's like you're lugging around boulders on your feet. But eventually, if you continue to get back out there, you find yourself being able to run 10 times faster, distances longer. And then you're gonna have that one day somewhere down the road where you're gonna be able to run all day. Just like I told you guys, I had at Bally's at one time. The first day I was able to get my iPod shuffle. First day I was able to load music on that thing. I swear I ran for about an hour or more. The most I'd ever run in my life. Non-stop, not tired at all. And it was the second jog I had of the day. But I had conditioned myself so much to jog to where I remember having a very sharp pain in my left ab, and it had to grow in. It grew into a real nice dent, and once that dent grew in, once that particular one grew in, I was able to just keep running. It was like that was the point of where all the pain came from which would tire me out. Jogging. Once that muscle grew in, it just felt like everything else. The body was just on point with everything else. I don't know why that was, but even after that, I wasn't able to jog like that ever again. Never had that hour. Even when I got in better shape, I just didn't feel that particular day's energy ever again. And so it's just the ebbs and flows of the process. I'm pretty sure if I would have kept my jogging up, I'd be able to run all day long if I really wanted to. Because that's what you can work yourself up to if you really intend to, especially if you're willing to stretch and take care of yourself. So that's what I'm going to tell people. Like, it wasn't just like that with art. When you go through the process of being intent on doing something every day, there are going to be those months where you have it. There are going to be those months where you feel great. There's going to be those months where you regress. And then you're going to continue to progress as you continue to let those months continue. You know, and months can seem a little daunting when you're considering a task, but it isn't once you get past the fact that it's now become habit. That's why I can count months in regards to stuff like this, because that first and second month's going to feel like months. Third, fourth months, you start to get into a habit. So it's no longer you counting days and how hard it is to get yourself going now, because it becomes something that's so easy for you to do that you're not used to not doing it after that point. Sort of how I feel with my squats nowadays with that regimen. It's like I don't feel right if I don't do it unless I'm too sore to do it, as to which I'm getting on my case about not doing it. So it's like you work yourself to that point where your stem is that strong. You know that you've put in the work. You know your body should respond. And so I was telling my friend T about how I'm trying to work out like I'm 22 years old now, man, because I don't want to be somebody who's older without energy, you know, with bad knees and stuff like that. I didn't grow up playing sports, never had no knee injuries, so it shouldn't be no reason I can't continue to push like I'm a young person, because structurally I'm in place just fine. You know what I mean? There should be no problems. So long as I'm willing to put in the work and take care of myself as I have. So that's what I'm doing. Taking care of myself to the best of my ability and allowing myself to get some sunlight for the first time in several years. My face is so dark, I don't even recognize myself when I look in the mirror right now. I look like I'm turned leather or something. I ain't been this dark since I was 20 or something. But it's that sunlight, consistent walking every day, and turn that into a habit. And I hope to keep that going for the rest of my life. Just, you know, unless obviously there's a reason for me to not. But if I'm on a weekend or something like that, if I'm working and I have a weekend off, I plan on taking my little 2-hour walks every day if possible. Or unless I could turn them to 2-hour jogs, maybe, you know what I mean? Pushing myself to a limit where I would never have started if I was, you know, in this process without these problems. So that's what I want to tell people. I'm starting new processes. I'm hoping to add new months to my repetition. It ain't just art that I wanted to do that with. I want to build my body up. I want to build my money up. You know what I mean? I'm going to do the same thing with everything that I'm trying to attempt. I'm doing the same thing with this channel. Just continue at it, you know. And for the confidence of speaking in public speaking and things like that, no different. You know, getting up here and starting your own channel, it's kind of the same thing. Kind of the same thing. Anything you do, repetition, the process will be something like that for you, I think. Some variation of what it is I've described here. Don't forget about the feeling of setbacks and the feelings of being stagnant, because getting past that is very much important. The stagnation will help you think that you need to go backwards in your work. In other words, you're probably better doing something else because you can't go no further. But what you don't realize is you are going further. That's part of the process. Stagnation is something that you should expect. Look for it. It's coming. You just can't do it. You feel like you can do less than you did last week. Those days where your body literally can't do nothing it usually does. Hardest thing in the world is to try to force yourself to work out when your body's feeling like that. But if you're able to do something on those days, you will definitely find yourself stronger for doing those. You're going to definitely likely be super sore from the workout that you have in that day. Because what your body's likely telling you is that it doesn't want to add to the process, but you're going to force it. And as a result, you're gonna probably be in the bed with the muscle soreness for working out on a day like that. But I found that if you do work out on a day like that, you give it 4 days and recover, you're gonna have dents in your stomach and muscle definition that directly comes from working out on days when you absolutely don't have it to give. So that's what I know from several different eras of working out, including the one I'm in now. And so also squats really help for those who are trying to help the pit of their stomach, lower stomach, some, but just those who have like guts that stand out and you want to get that gut taken care of, get enough weight that you can squat with. That always helps shape the muscles in the stomach, because I'm telling you, I don't really do no crunches or sit-ups right now, but I'm starting to see real definition with my abs, and it's because of the heavyweight squats that I actually use. So I just wanted to throw that out there for those who are having trouble with their gut health. It comes with your legs strengthening, your V muscle strengthening, and ultimately your back strengthening as well. So I don't know who cares to know any of that. Obviously, I'm not a personal trainer, but I just understand where the process of now building something. It took me a long time to want to build anything that was positive, but I just understand when you're working out, you're trying to get your art going, or you're trying to do whatever. It's just going to require that you be very patient with yourself, or what it is that your process is. So, yeah, man, I'm trying to be patient. I think being patient is the way to go. Just keep going, keep trying, keep being in love with what it is that you do. And it won't be hard to go through those processes. So yeah, that's what's on my mind right now, man. I hope that I was able to help people. Obviously, I started off by telling y'all about information to keep yourself from getting evicted in California. Keep California. The reason why I want y'all to know that was only in this state is because I ended up reading a whole paragraph of some crap that did not relate to what we were talking about, because it was Nevada. And I was taking notes and everything, doing screenshots. It didn't hold no weight. It's not in this state. So when I looked up what was going on in my state, it was similar, but it was definitely not the advice I had taken. So be careful not to think that what works for me here will work for you there, or work for you later in a different time. It may not. They change these rules all the time. So I just kind of left that here as a means of educating those in California about the current 2023 day stuff, summer 2023 day stuff as it pertains to that. And of course, just reminding myself of what's there as well. And yeah, it was some good advice given to me. Of course, I got to look for a P.O. box. And my boy was telling me about getting that situation straightened out and forwarding, mailing, and all of that stuff, and how the process would go. For some reason, I need, to move the P.O. box and all that, because I've never had a P.O. box before. So that's new information for me, and just other things that I just need to do. So I just, tell you guys, just like I told my boy T, I need ideas. All of the best ideas are not swirling around in my head because of how I am. Very simple stuff. I've never been through some of this. I don't look up stuff like this. I stay far away from certain things, so I'm green in certain things that I should not be. Didn't go to school for certain things. Didn't even pay attention to school during time when kids are in school. I wasn't there. So I just need people to give me ideas, because I'm by myself and I don't have them. So when my boy T was giving me all these different nuggets, different things that he wants me to try to keep this process going, I was just sitting up here getting more and more comfort from the idea of solutions and ideas coming my way. So I just want people to know that, you really can't judge a person's understanding as pertains to the knowledge that they have in their head. You can't assume that just because they speak well, or because they're talented, or because they're from a big city or whatever, that they're going to know what they should know to kind of move around in ways that may make sense to their situation. Sometimes people just need things suggested to them that they just don't have in their head. And I'm living a proof of that. Like, I can do all kinds of different stuff, but when it comes to certain things, I just need people to suggest certain things. And then from there, I'm able to do what it is they suggest, but as long as I'm trying to leave it up to myself. Even the easiest thing may not be anything I know anything about. You know what I mean? This is how it goes for some people. So I don't know. I just hope that the God above has some type of plan in regards to allowing me to be an example of a lot of different things that can hopefully help us just identify new versions of mental health people or new versions of people who may need suggestions, however that goes. I think I'm a very unique person, and I don't know that they have a model for helping people like me. But hopefully, after I leave a bunch of these therapy sessions up here for all of you guys, something can be done about kind of identifying people like myself. And so that's something that I wanted to kind of do when I first started this therapy session thing. That's kind of what I was thinking. So yeah, man, very fortunate to be laying in my bed, man. I tell y'all, I don't take this for granted. Every day walking down the street, just like y'all see, it's a lot of poverty in the world. And so I'm humbled by the fact that I'm being given so much in regards to these suggestions, in regards to the confidence that I'm feeling in the relationship I have with God, all this different stuff that makes me so that I have the Holy Spirit in comforting me. And if it wasn't for that relationship with God, I don't even think I would be able to take advice or know what to look up or to have even been friends with these folks in the first place. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for the Holy Spirit. So I just think about other people's lives. Think about other people's lives and some of the things that they're going through, difficulties that they're faced with. You know, I'm just paying attention to random stuff online, like the YNW Melly case, and seeing the parents of one of the victims in that situation speaking to the media, talking about how they feel about the situation, talking to the public about how they've gone through it. And I just think about various different stuff, like we talk about Zion and what he has going on and how stressful that situation must be for him at 22 years old. This is very stuff, like I can empathize with people who are doing better than me. I can empathize with people doing much worse, because stress is stress, man. When I equate it, it's exactly that. And so I feel for everybody. I was thinking about something. I was like, man, in the presence of trying to surmise what is fair, I think about people who have all the money in the world, 1%ers and all that. And I'm like, there's humanity due to all of us. I may be frustrated at the fact that this person may have enough to feed my entire country, you know what I mean, with their wallet. But do I want to do something to them? Do I want to like make them feel horrible as humans, or make them feel tortured as humans to kind of make up for that? And I was thinking about, like, nah, I want to apply kindness to every person, like, within reason, obviously. But like, let's say a guy's just a nice guy and he happens to be like a 1%er worth like $270 billion. I kind of just want to shake his hand if he's a cool guy. Just like I kind of just want to shake a person's hands if they don't have nothing. You know what I mean? I really genuinely don't equate value with money. I really don't. That's probably why I don't have any. But like, I look at a guy like Steve Ballmer, looks like a cool guy. I don't look at him as somebody like, why aren't you doing more for everyone else? I don't know. I don't even know how to really look at that. But I know he has enough to feed a whole country of people, like literally. And so am I to look at him as a villain for allowing poverty to exist? I don't know. I mean, but it doesn't make me want to do something bad to the man, or like, I don't look at him and say, because everybody can be fed by your dollar, you must, I just don't think that's even a thing, man. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Maybe it is. I don't know, but that's not how I work. That's not how I feel. I would have kindness for him just like I'd have kindness for anybody else, man. And I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. The way I'm wired, probably buy him a drink. You know what I'm saying? With my dollar. I'm just weird like that, man. I just don't think much of money, bro. I think more of energy and time and substance and laughter. The process of doing good things. And if you be kind to people, you never know what they'll bestow upon you. You never know what you could suggest to these folks. You know what I mean? And that's why I talk the way I do. I think I can help people in all different types of walks of life. Not to say that I have a solution for anything that a 1%er may need. I don't know, but I'm thinking like in terms of relating to people that they love, maybe allowing their kid to be themselves, stuff like that. Maybe maneuvering things around so that they can have a bit more favor coming into their lives. Praying about something they might be stressed about. I don't care how rich you are, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that your parents are aging, or that your wife is cheating or something like that. Like, I can help a 1%er in a situation like that with just suggestion of how to keep their energy intact. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think I have something to offer anybody, really, just by being a decent human being and occupying my space without trying to harm nobody else. So I don't know if I have a sheepish way of looking at things, kind of naive or whatever. I'd imagine that's how it looks to a lot of people, and that's fine. I get that 100,000%. But I think the essence of being a human being is recognizing that no matter how long you think of what a person has, no matter how much they have or how little they have, they're still going to have to deal with a mortal body and have to live within the time that they're given. This year to that year. That's what you got. So it's like, when I really look at anybody, I just see flesh and blood and people who have an opportunity to seize the moment and enjoy the moment they're in. If we can celebrate it together, let's have a celebration. You know what I mean? And if you have enough to feed me, then that's cool, man. I'm happy you made your success. And if you got enough to feed everybody, then maybe I can reach you and help you understand how much it's important that you do that. Not to say you give up away all your wealth or stop being ambitious about being successful, stop being ambitious about being dominant, because I don't believe that you are. I mean, my middle name is Dominant, boldly dominating fear. That's what I'll call myself. BDF, it's one of the names that it's supposed to be. So I'm not telling a guy like Steve Ballmer not to keep on winning. Win, if that's what your passion is and you can do it, win. But I just think that at the end of the day, and I use him as an example, I don't know nothing about his business or anything, but he's just the richest person I'm aware of. And so it just becomes a situation where it's like, that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. Just being decent and understanding that everybody has to live between their years and their years. Some of us have more power than others. Some of us are trying to strive toward becoming the biggest whales. Others are just trying to do 7,000 art pieces. You know what I mean? Like, literally. Whatever your walk is, you're here. Make the best of it. Feel good about yourself if you can. Respect that good energy will welcome good things. Bad energy will have blowback on yourself and others. And try to identify what those things are to the best of your ability based on what it is you know and what it is you listen to. Hopefully I can help with that in regards to helping people understand energy if they weren't taught anything about that. Hopefully I can help some, but I was just really thinking about, like, man, with all of the different things that there is to think about in regards to people having more than others, and all of the history that we've known about in regards to that, I just ask myself where I stand on that. And I say, I can't see clearly in regards to my own compassion as it pertains to wanting to get on a person who's responsible for being able to help millions. Get on your case. You are a person who can feed millions. Okay, but he's also a person. So I would be mad at that person in the presence of trying to get them to feed others. I think that makes sense, right? When you consider how many people are starving, how many people are good in comparison to the good person that's 1% in front of you. It's just like, I don't know what to do about that thinking if I have the ear of both people. How do I fight for you while being compassionate to them? I don't really know what to do with that. I wonder if other talking heads ever think about things like that. Celebrities ever think about things like that. Musicians and artists ever think about who they affect with their art, who actually gives a damn about what they do. Could be many. When you think about 1 million views, do you know who all those individuals are? Each and every one of those souls. Do you even consider where you're leading them, that you can lead them somewhere? You could really move people just by your example. You could really move people by just a few words. I want to do it. I want to quit. You can move people all different types of ways. And it seems like a lot of times it's the people who have the very least understanding of that with the very most attention. And I think that's by design. But nevertheless, I don't want to move in a way that the people I speak to are not aware of what it is they do. Their example, with their voice, with their intentions, your influence, and your ambition toward what you're going after. You inspire people in high walks of life as well as people who don't have anything. And you may be the difference between helping them understand what their responsibility is to be compassionate to one another, or bestow upon one another the grace that they can rather. So that's what I try to embody, not only understanding that my voice holds weight, but that my words to speak to exampling, or having being an example, will also to make others be aware of the example that they're becoming when they go after whatever it is that they want. I don't think I'm the first person to say these things. I don't think you couldn't have been taught these things in your household. I'm just telling you that I'm cognizant of those things, and I want others who follow me to be as well. Your voice matters, your image matters, what it is you're putting out matters. It ain't just about the simplicity of whatever your intentions are, but also how people interpret what you're doing. You may be thinking you're having a good time and selling a good time. You may be selling somebody an addiction. You know what I mean? You may be selling them something that is unattainable for them to reach. You may be selling them down a river to try to live up to expectations that are not ever going to be met. Things that are ultimately going to push them away from their families, or push them towards stuff that ain't no good, or maybe even the opposite direction. It doesn't have to be negative. You lean them in positive directions with your voice just the same. That's why I was addressing Cardi B this morning. That's why I address all these people that I've addressed in my little messages to people. Because I want those who are an example to know that they are that, and what that truly entails if they can't see it, or if other people are in control of that, what it is that they're actually controlling when they control you and give you the budget to do this and ask you to do that, and attach certain creative minds to your image and have you looking like this and that. That's why I talk about the people behind the curtain. It's all the same thing. It's just being cognizant of what that image is or what it does to others. Being cognizant that people are investing in that behavior of others by way of your image, by way of your example, by way of these creative energies that are attached to your art. I think about various different stars that have devil horns and all types of other stuff that they do. It's like, is this the artist doing this, or are these the creative people that have been assigned to the artist that understand all the stuff that I've been talking about for the last 10 minutes? I think the latter. I've always thought the latter. Growing up in Hollywood made you understand the latter. And that's why I'm not enamored with celebrities, but to say that I love that you've made it and can help your families, that I love that you're good at what you do if you are, but I also am aware that you might be a slave to mind controllers and individuals who want to sway the tide of humans in one way or another, to keep them fighting with one another, so they spend their money a certain way, vote a certain way, think a certain way, hate a certain way, love a certain way, prioritize as they do. They're trying to phase us through life, just like they did with the video games. You know, the video game graphics were always 10 years behind on the consoles. Whatever you saw on your console, you knew that you could go to the movies and see 10 times better CGI, and you knew damn well they weren't going to sell you that CGI for another 10 years in your video game console, as to which they would have 20 times better CGI when they do. The CGI is finally up to where it was back in the day when we watched, different movies like the Titanic, the Avatar, but now they're selling us full-fledged AI now. That can basically duplicate any voice and have me sound like I'm singing doo-wah diddy diddy dum diddy doo in here if they want to. It's like we're always behind, but they're always selling us these overpriced consoles to play these video games, and these video games always have these mind screws on top of the game itself that actually are games within the game that ultimately mess with your head, have you spending real money, doing all kinds of stuff that's just mind control garbage, man, conditioning you to get used to what we're dealing with now with the spam like leads and all types of different crap that's going on. They were preparing us They were conditioning our minds for these things. So when I talk about conditioning the mind and trying to redirect the mind to get used to certain things and loving certain things and having to deal with certain things, it's because I know my mind has been conditioned by people who were thinking this way, applying these things to the various things I was enjoying as a child. I studied them as they were doing it to me, and I know what it is that they did. And get you used to certain stuff, rhythms, listen to certain music, riffs, sounds, yodels, and various different things that they keep telling people over and over again so they can sway you in a different way. Then they'll put certain things in that music that will suggest you a certain way. It's like, why does all the pop sound the same? It's because they've trained the American public to like this type of music, and through that music they can suggest whatever they want. You're gonna always go toward that sound. You're gonna always go toward that riff. You're gonna always listen to something that sounds like that because it's all you know and that's all they've ever taught you. That's what music is. It ain't. That's why I exist. Go check out my playlist. You'll find out what the real music is. That wasn't music. That was formula. That wasn't music. That was garbage that they were giving you. It's supposed to rock you to sleep. Same old trash they've been sending you forever. And this is what I know. And some of my playlists has formula on it too. Don't get it twisted. But I've been digging into crates and the other stuff, and I've been finding stuff that they're not selling to the wide public. That's not supposed to be popular, that you're just going to buy 14 million copies of just because it's attached to that person's name. You know how many gimmicks are attached to these various artists that we like, that sell all the most records? They slap Ice Spice next to Taylor Swift. It's just the formula and the machine itself. It knows how to sell. The problem is the how to sell is not actually successful. It's just a duplication of what has always worked, and it has trained us to go toward it, not the other way around. They already know it's gonna work. You're trained to go after it. That's essentially what I'm saying. They already know that sound is gonna work. You're gonna go toward that. They made it so that what that does makes money every time they do it. They just switch it around, a variation, throw a new person up there. Just like I say about sports, they flip the play, had to play on the other side of the court, but it's still the same play. They just flip it around, make a different player do the different action, but it's the same play. That's what they do with music, man. That's what they do with movies. That's what they do with a lot of the stuff. And when you're a creative, you can see it. When you think like I do, you can see it. You can see straight through it. Mind control, and that's why I always teach. That's why I teach to condition your mind. You can get used to anything. Put God first, because He can help you understand a lot of things that are ultimately in place to confuse you. Have you doing things that ultimately welcome you worse blowback on yourself. They want you that way. I've said it a million and a half times. They want you to welcome bad karma into your life. They want you to welcome diseases of sexual nature in your life. They want you to welcome drug abuse and violence into your life to ultimately end your life. It's what they are about. They want you to live as long as they want you to live. They want you to be a consumer for as long as they want you to be a consumer. They want natural selection in certain situations, meaning you just happen to pass away accidentally doing stupid stuff. They want that. They want you to be confused about whether or not you should snitch, and then whether or not your favorite artist is going to snitch. It's like I told y'all a long time ago, there was never an opportunity for a guy like Gunna to get out of this without being a snitch. They coerced him into being a snitch. There was never any way he was going to get out of this without telling. And then they were going to proceed to tell us that he told, try to disgrace him, but then simultaneously put the propaganda out there that it's no problem telling. A huge facet of what you're going to see under Gunna's IG is a bunch of people saying, we don't care. But then they'll continue to put it in other posts that you should care. Don't snitch, shun the snitch. It's confusion. One half of the propaganda is telling you we don't care that he snitched. In other words, it's okay to funnel black people into jail or whatever. That's what it is. We'll funnel black folks into jail. It's okay. It's fine because we're going to listen to music anyway. It's like, yeah, that's a conditioning of the mind. They're trying to get you to not care nothing about the processes from which black people get thrown in jail. And of course, we hold ourselves accountable for being out there. Of course, it's all of that is true. But like, there are people actually doing things. They're not focused on you. They're not focused on them. They're not now. They focused on these folks over here with the confusion of snitch culture and the continued profitability of these cases and throwing these people in prison and ultimately snatching the money that they've earned from being artists by way of their lawyers and all these various different things like that. They can snatch that money from them after they made enough money from them, throw them in jail, and get a lot of attention off of that, sway the people in different directions, and throw another one out there and do the same thing with them. I'm just not confused, not moved, but I'm definitely intent on helping other people not be confused or moved as well. Now, we're going to do a lot of these cultures because they don't welcome nothing good for us. They welcome trauma into our lives, trauma into our children's lives, and people who put this crap in place are smart enough to know it. They're smart enough to know it. And when we get to a point where we're smart enough to hold them accountable for it, we'll start to really know who the real murderers are in this world, the real thugs are in this world, the real, all of that. We'll know because there are people dreaming this stuff up, sitting in rooms. They don't have to deal with no violence whatsoever, but they're dreaming up different ways of doing this very complicated thing to continue to sway people about how to feel about different people, how to feel about people that are not yourself. They want to keep the grand majority at a distance from the substance that is found in a lot of people that are not themselves. They want to keep them feeling as if they're the top of the mountain, keep them feeling hateful. I was looking at something that was posted in regards to Florida. It was tripped me out. Then put together all these rules, all these laws, making it impossible for migrant workers to stay in the state. Now they find out they need the migrant workers to do a lot of the real estate work that has already been paid for. Wood is getting soaked because they haven't had drywall put over it and different things. Work that the white guys are not able to do physically, not willing to do or what have you, it's not getting done. They chase all the real ones out. They chase all the people who are actually built to do the work out. It's like, why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we let our hate and our bigotry get in the way of our greed in this situation, as the lady put it? And you let your hate get in the way of your greed, you rather go broke. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I know I'm crazy, but that's crazy for a state to think that way. For a state to move in a way that allows that to go down because y'all just didn't want them around. That's crazy. You needed them. And you weren't able to identify that? Like, y'all hate getting in the way of what it is that y'all need. That's why I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, this place is lost. And it's going to fall, man. It's going to fall. And what's going to save it is some influx of understanding that just seems to be just gone. It's distant. Influx of understanding is to say, maybe it would be best if we learn to live with these folks so that they can continue to do the things that help contribute to who it is that we are. Because we're not going to be able to live without them. We're going to have to learn what they know. We're going to have to condition ourselves for things that we're not conditioned for in order to survive what it is that they do on a daily basis. The Lord put them here to do what it is that we cannot. See the value in that and pay them properly. That's what I say in regards to the migrant workers. They shouldn't be getting migrant wages ever again after this little experiment that Florida just did. And maybe that was the purpose of it. To weed out the stupidity of it all. Sound like something I would do. See, show them. They think they could do without them? Show them. And if that was the intent, hooray. I'm glad you see it now. But your racism, your hatred, your bigotry and all that stuff is going to make you realize that you have to do the work that you don't want others to do. It's the same thing we said about slavery. How the hell were they going to do the work without us? They treat us so poorly, act like we want nothing, but they couldn't build the country without us. And they can't maintain the country without migrant workers. We need these people, and you want to kick them out, you want to send them on. You need them. You can't keep this thing going without them. While you trying to close the borders and tell us it ain't nothing but bad people coming over, you can't even maintain the country without their work. It's just, it comes to a point where you just got to ask yourself, what keeps the country going? Do you know? or you're allowing your hatred to get in the way of what it is that you actually can use. And if you remove the migrant workers, you move all the black people, you leave this place with nothing more white folks, I guarantee you ain't nothing gonna get done, man. No disrespect to white folks, but you're not conditioned for that, man. You can't stand out in the sun like that, bro. It just is what it is. I didn't make the rules. And folks have been conditioned to work in fields and stuff like that for generations, man. Their DNA is ready for that. You ain't ready for that. You gonna throw your whole back out, bust up everything you got, just trying to do the work that God gave them the gift to do. And that's why I say, man, don't even go back to Florida and to them people where to pay you a lot more than what it is they were paying you. I don't know what would be right. I'm not trying to suggest nothing because I'm not in that space, but I'm telling you, they would have to give me all kinds of right, make me all kinds of whole before I picked up another single thing for them people in that state. Wouldn't do nothing else for them. Hell, I would show the rest of my people, all of us, what's going on over there now, and then make them pay everybody right before anybody do any work for these damn people. That's what I say. All the migrant workers should go back to a space where the drawing board is near and say, yo, you see our worth? The proof is in that little experiment over there in Florida. You see our worth? Give us our real generational wealth. Show us what we really are doing for your country by giving us all that damn money that you know you owe us for the work that you've done. The people should be rich for all the work that they've done for this country. You paying them pennies on the dollar, you can't even survive without them. They should be rich. They should be their kids should all be going through college off of your dime, America, because you making money, boatload of money off of paying these people nothing. And we act like we don't see it every day. We act like we don't know. Many of y'all don't care, but the rest of us act like we don't notice. They're getting coins, pennies, and stuff like we want to talk about what's going on in China with various different sweatshops and stuff. You do the migrant workers just as bad here based on the standards that we allow ourselves to live by versus what we do to them. But because they're from over there and they should be happy to be over here, make it harder for them to get over here to decrease their value. Or make it 10 years for them to get their citizenship, to decrease that value. Just like y'all do all that spin the block, black woman devil propaganda, all these different things to decrease our value. They always want to decrease somebody's value. But when we remove what it is that we do, guess what we have? Nothing, because y'all ain't going to do the work. But you always want to decrease somebody's value in regards to what it is that they do for you. So you steal a buck from them. Tired shit. I ain't asking for you to excuse my language. I need to come out exactly like that. Because it's tired. People don't even know what keeps their country going. They want to wave their flag and push other people out the way. People that they can't even run the country without. Tell the army to do it. Since y'all want to be crazy about them, don't feel nothing about the workers. Don't feel nothing about anybody but somebody holding a gun. We're going to have our army do all the migrant work. We're going to have the biggest military. That's what we're going to have to do it. Because it ain't going to be the regulars. They ain't conditioned for it. You're gonna need your Marines to do it. I know what's gonna come. If all the migrant workers stop working, they're gonna send the military out there. I know what this gonna be. That's the only ones gonna be conditioned to do it. Nah, pay them people. I would want all their kids to grow up to be lawyers, man. All the migrant workers. That's what I wish on this country. All of their kids grow up to be lawyers, yo. And come back and get all that value, all of it. Come back and make them pay for everything they never paid them people, bro. Make them pay for all they lost people that they lost getting turned away, having to go back over the border and didn't make it. All of that. Pay all of that. They owe them people billions, trillions with a T. Don't get it twisted. It ain't no billions. It's T. That's what they owe the migrant workers. Believe me when I tell you that. I know it. I know it in my soul. They own trillions. And what they owe us, blacks, for reparations, the building of this country, you don't even want to know. All the back pay we should be paid for building this damn thing. You don't even want to get into the numbers and figures that are actually owed. You don't even. That's why I'm like, man, I don't think too much of not having money. When I understand what it is, I believe I understand. Hey, not having money. There are people hoarding money, stealing money from people they can't even live without, snatching up the value from human beings' images so that they don't have to pay them properly. Here goes some bull crap. They ain't got nothing to do with that, but it's still bull crap. So they're giving away Susan B. Anthony's as you put your $20 bill into the metro station machine to try to get the tapped card and all that stuff in California when you go to the train station. They're giving you Susan B. Anthony's. Those are dollars in coin figure, just a little bit bigger than the quarters. Problem is, everywhere you go with a Susan B. Anthony, they don't trade them in for dollars. Now tell me, is it actually a dollar if it doesn't get taken everywhere a dollar is taken? Or is it some type of dollar-like voucher that doesn't hold as much value? Make it make sense to me. Because you cannot. If it's worth a dollar, then why isn't it taken everywhere a dollar is taken? The very essence of worth means that it can be comparable to what it would otherwise be somewhere else. If I take my coin over here, I should be able to get 25 pennies for it. If it's 25 cents, it's 25 pennies over here, 25 pennies over there. But if I take it to that restaurant, it's worthless. They won't take it. If I take it to that place, it's worth it. They won't take it. If I try to put it in anything other than if I take it to anywhere other than a bank, I can't get a dollar's worth for it. So it's not actually worth a dollar at all. It has to be worth something less than that since it can't go everywhere a dollar goes. So where's all my money? Where's the value from which I put into your machine? I put a 20 in your machine. That can be taken everywhere. That's worth 20 single folded dollars. I don't know what a Susan B. Anthony's worth because it can't be taken everywhere. So even though they say it's worth a dollar, it's not actually a dollar because based on what it is, it can't be worth that without being taken everywhere. It's worth something less than that. Based on the lack of availability, it can be used. It's not a dollar at all. You're just telling me it is. So where's my money? See what I'm saying? This is a loophole. The Susan B. Anthony loophole. They're taking real dollars and they're giving us back something that doesn't quite hold the same value. And who are they doing this to? Poor people. People who need to take the train. People who do not have vehicles. People who don't likely have a bunch of anything. You put your real hard-earned money in there and they bring you back some type of voucher that does not get taken everywhere. They're stealing from the poor, friends. I'm supposed to be too stupid to know this because I'm too busy enjoying my music. I'm too busy rooting for my team. I'm too busy spinning the block. I'm too busy paying attention to who's doing what. I'm not confused. And I'm telling you, God be moving me. So what I'm telling you is if I'm to believe God moves me, that means God is paying attention to everything I'm looking at. If I'm to assume the Holy Spirit is in me and that Holy Spirit is connected to the Most High, I'm to assume he's very aware of all of this. Obviously much more than that. But the point is, y'all ain't getting away with this. All of these different things of value. As the calendar continues to fold forward, as math continues to be studied, as science continues to be studied, as people get better at tracing things, all of this value will have to be given back eventually. Some generation, someday, you're going to have to make up for all this cheating y'all been doing. And that math is going to be able to add up. You're going to see it clearly. All this different stuff, all the stock market stuff, all of it, y'all going to have to pay it back. All of it. This country is going to be owned by the same people you discard. I'm telling you this because I know it. I see it coming. It's going to be more of us than you anyway. And that's going to be the scary part, grand majority. All this cheating y'all been doing, all this discarding the people y'all been doing, all this hoarding each other in different ways by way of pop music and various different desensitizations of various people that you don't care nothing about, all these different prioritizing of other people so that some people feel like they haven't been given what they're supposed to, all this different stuff that y'all doing. It's about to be unveiled. The reality of what it is that you're doing, all the nonsense, what's really there, the rug is going to be pulled up and all the ugliness underneath is going to be shown, and in every bit of the receipts that you have are now going to have to be accounted for within the payments that you owe. People are going to bring back their receipts to what it is that you did to their ancestors. And they come for that money. And there ain't gonna be no Democrats, no Republicans, or any of that crap gonna be able to stop what's coming in regards to making that balance correct. Just telling you what's coming. God is real, whether you have him equated into your math or not, man. He's real. He's tired. He's been tired. He's moving things around. The world is changing right now. And I'm telling you, if we haven't come around to understand where our hate and our bad energy blows back on us the worst way, and how some are trying to coerce us into feeling that way in our big old grandiose groups, trying to lure us into being more hateful people, thus more tortured people, trying to lure us into being all different types of wrong. I'm telling you, all of it's being revealed in due time. So stay faithful to all those who believe. Stay close to God if you're part of these groups that you know aren't right. Letting other groups get screwed over, pennies on the dollar and all kinds of stuff. If you're part of that group, get your soul right. Keep your soul right. Keep it right. Because I'm telling you, he's coming. God is coming. I don't know about how it's going to be playing out. I'm not saying it's the last of days. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying that the Holy Spirit that I know of, who's helped me through my darkest times, has made it ever so clear to me that he wanted me to speak this way for the last couple of years. In regards to stuff like this, he made it very clear to me to speak freely. Right or wrong, tell him what you see. It's basically what he's telling me. So I just want people to know what's on my heart, man. Pay the migrant workers. Stop stealing from people. Stop pushing people around. Stop bullying people. Stop acting like you don't need people. Stop acting like you can't merge your culture with people, like you can't stand to see them. Stop allowing these people who lie to you, who want you to vote a certain way, leave you without what it needs to help you build your country, keep your country upright. These politicians are short-sighted and greedy, and they don't really care too much about what happens 10, 15, 20 minutes from now. That's the point. Instant, quick grits politicians that will sell everything down the river with no concern about what happens tomorrow, because they're going to be living in a different country tomorrow at that point. A lot of these people are going to flee. If they're not jailed, they're going to flee. I know it. So I just want people to remember what I'm saying here, man. Remember what I'm saying here, because I'm an ape. An AMC ape, as I've been telling y'all for the past couple years. And I have been watching these people control the money situation from just this one angle. And that means they got plenty other different things that they're doing in that same vein, because that's how greed works. It knows no end. Its ambition knows no end. And I'm telling you, energy that they've been putting out in regards to seeing that ambition, it blows back on you in no worse of ways. And if you're not wise enough to receive it as something that's supposed to turn your heart around and make you better, it's going to blow back on you even harder going forward until you get that. Until you get that, it's just going to keep on piling up. The karma will keep piling up, and eventually you will be destroyed if you don't turn away from your ways. It's not no biblical thing. It's just how it goes for everybody who does stuff like this. It just don't work for too long. People start getting hip to what you're doing, and the walls start to close in on you. So that's what I want to say. That's on my mind. That's the view that I have. I'm making these therapy sessions longer and longer, and I give less and less of a care, because at the end of the day, I'm going to speak freely. And I ain't instant quick grits. I don't care if you're going to be able to find the time to listen to these or not. Some generation will definitely have the time to listen to these. And they'll be the ones that's for. Not the instant quick grits generation. No. For all time. That's what I do this for. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.